the appointments of big shot. For example, you want to meet Mr. Amitabh Bachchan. You cannot directly go into his residence and barge in and say that, Mr. Bachchan, I'm here. No, you have to take appointment with his secretary, who takes care of his day-to-day routine activities. If you have a legitimate issue to meet with him, then the secretary will accord you an appointment. Okay, but if you are not having a legitimate cause, you will not get an appointment. So private secretaries are like, a personal assistants to take care of day-to-day routine and all that. But who is a company secretary? A company secretary is a legal professional. It's a legal professional in charge of the company's activities. The only similarity between a company secretary and a private secretary, girls, is that the term secretary. And if you see, the term secretary comes from a very interesting English word, secret. If you expand the term secret, it encompasses the word secretary. It's like a company secretary the private secretary is like a legal safekeeper of his boss for whom he works. In the same way, literally, a company secretary is the safekeeper of the secrets of the company. And it's a literal meaning. I'm not going into the literal meaning, just to make you aware. So now you can understand there's a difference being a company secretary and being a private secretary. The only thing that is common to both of them is the term secretary. Okay. I'll be using the aid of a PowerPoint presentation to tell you more in detail about the company secretary profession and the course in detail. If you have any doubts during my interaction with you, you can ask me through the chat interface, or you can unmute your audio and ask about any doubts that arise. Okay. Now, coming to the institute. Okay. So I'm going live with my PowerPoint presentation. I hope you will be able to see the same in under 3 seconds. Fine. So we are live with the PowerPoint presentation. Our topic of this presentation is career as a company secretary. Madam, are you able to see my screen? Maushami madam.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir, it's visible.
Yeah, thank you, ma'am.
It's absolutely visible. Yes.
So we'll start with the introduction about the institute. The Institute of Company Secretaries. I represent the Institute of Company Secretaries of India. I think somebody's audio is on. Yeah. Okay. So I represent the Institute of Company Secretaries of India. I'm an assistant director over here. And the company secretary course is only taught by the ICSI, nobody else. So you can say that we have absolute monopoly over this course. And this monopoly has been given to us by the Parliament of India through an act of Parliament, the Company Secretaries Act in the year 1980. The Institute of Company Secretaries was set up by an act of Parliament, and it is a national professional body in tune with the IIMs and IITs, and it functions under the jurisdiction of the Ministry of Corporate Affairs. The Ministry of Corporate Affairs, girls, runs 3 professional institutes. One is the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, the other one is the Institute of Cost Accountants, and the third one is the Institute of Company Secretaries. The slide is pretty clear on the fact that the institute was set up to regulate and develop the profession of company secretaries. Girls, after class 12, you will be doing a graduation program, just like you will be doing something like a BCom or a BBA. In the same way, before 1980, this course was a graduate program. It was known as the Bachelor of Corporate Secretaryship. It was taught in colleges and universities. Calcutta University had a course called the Bachelor in Corporate Secretaryship. We used to call it as BCS. But in the year 1980, when the Parliament of India set up this institute, this course was removed from all colleges and universities, and the institute was given the right to teach the program. And once a student completes the program, he or she is awarded the degree by the institute. Now, there's a very big misconception in India whether the degree that is awarded by the institute, has it got recognition? My answer would be yes. It has got not only national recognition, it has got international recognition. When you become a CS, you add the term CS in front of your name. The same is affixed in your passport if you travel out of this country. people recognize you for being a company secretary. So it is a national program. So if there are any doubts that are there in your mind right now, ki, if I study the CS program, will there be any career progression for me? Whether the certificate that I receive is recognized, then you can iron out all the misconception, and I can pretty assure you on the fact that the degree has got immense value. No, I was just telling you a while ago, there are only 60,000 company secretaries in India as on date. You're very surprised to hear that. No, this degree CS is not something that is limited to India. It is a internationally recognized abbreviation, but the expansion is different in different countries. For example, in the US, they are known as corporate secretaries. In uh, England, they are known as chartered secretaries, and in India, we call them as company secretaries. So the nomenclature may be way too different across the globe, but the job that they do in an organization or in a business is more or less the same. So worldwide, there are only 75,000 company secretaries or chartered secretaries or corporate secretaries. And out of the 75,000, 60,000 are in India. Because of the sheer number of company secretaries in India, and by the number of students who are pursuing the company secretary course, there are around 3 lakh students who are currently studying the CS course. So because of the size of members and students, the institute in India is the largest in the world, is the largest body for company secretaries in the world. The Guinness Book of World Record recognizes the ICSI as the largest body for secretaries or corporate secretaries in the world. Okay. The institute's headquarters, as you can see in the slide, is based out at Delhi and has got 4 regional offices in the 4 metropolitan cities, again at Delhi, the second one in Mumbai, the third one at Chennai, and the fourth one at Calcutta. I work at the regional office at Calcutta, and I look after the entire eastern India. And the same way, the institute has got around 68 chapters spread across India. Chapters means offices of the institute. All major cities and towns have an institute's office where a student can go learn about the course and get admission, etc., etc. And we also have an international chapter out of India in Dubai. Why in Dubai? It's because the fact that Indian company secretaries can not only function in businesses that are based out in India, but also in businesses that are based out in the Persian Gulf. So that's the very reason the institute has offices across India and also an international office in Dubai. Okay? So we are done with the first part of my presentation, that is about the institute. Now, before I go into the next slide, I would like to ask you girls, as most of you are from the commerce fraternity, now, can anybody tell me who is a company secretary, or what does a company secretary do in an organization? Anybody? Anybody can just tell me, what does a company secretary do in an organization? Any of the girls? Yeah.
Girls, please try to interact. Your concepts will become clear. Sir is there in front of us.
Yeah.
Please move ahead.
Anything that comes to your mind. उसके नाम में ही उसका काम छुपा हुआ है. If I say it in Hindi, उसके नाम में ही उसका काम छुपा हुआ है. तो company secretary क्या काम करता होगा? What does a company secretary do in an organization?
Sir.
Yeah.
Sir, should I say?
The person who guides the company. Okay. What else? और क्या हो सकता है?
It's related to legal documents.
Okay, related to legal documents. Fine. What else? Shaima says that a person who looks at the legal side of the business. Okay. Shaima is 50% correct.
Miss, and their responsibilities is to ensure that the company and the director operates within the law.
Fine, great. Shaima, आप Google तो नहीं देख रहे हो ना?
No.
तब ठीक है ना. इतना प्रिसाइज आंसर सुन के मेरे को भी झटका लग गया कि इतना करेक्ट कैसे कोई हो सकता है. Then also, if you have not looked in and said it, then entire hats off to you for giving a perfect answer. So, okay, अब शाइमा ने तो आंसर दे दिया. What about the other girls? Veronica, Projukta, I'm not able to see anybody else's name. Yeah. Avantika, Alice, Angela, sorry. So anybody else? I understand, it's a lazy Saturday evening and the school has bound you to attend this program. Attend karo, nahi to marks nahi milega, whatever it is. But at least for my sake, मैं बेचारा उठ के बैठा हूँ. So I'm feeling very cold also, पता नहीं क्यों. So you can just for my sake itself, you can just add to what Shaima has said. Shaima says that the person who looks on the legal side, और क्या हो सकता है? The rest of the girls, what do you feel? Okay, no answer, huh? हमें क्या पता CS क्या है? पता होता तो आपका प्रोग्राम क्यों अटेंड करते? नहीं. So this is common thing है ना, जहाँ पे भी जाता हूँ ये सब मेरे को मिलता ही रहता है, बहुत सारे बच्चों का दुआ बद्दुआ भी मिलता रहता है कि सर आप क्यों है, तब अगर हमको ही आप जवाब देना है तो हम आप क्यों हैं. So, yeah, anybody. So Shaima, the entire credit goes to Shaima for giving us a great understanding of the company secretary course. So, wherever I go, I ask this very pertinent question, girls, that who is the company secretary? And like Shaima told, a person who looks at the legal side of business, many people say that, no, sir, company secretary ka matlab hai, a private secretary works in a company. A private secretary works in a company is a company secretary. So I'm going to ask you a question, girls. You have to reply with a yes or no. You can use the chat interface to reply yes or no if you don't want to unmute your audio. So listen to this question very carefully and just reply with a yes or no. My question is, do you believe that the company secretary of a company like Reliance Industries Limited is he or she the private secretary to Mr. Mukesh Ambani, the chairman of Reliance? What is the answer? Yes.
Sir, could you please repeat?
Okay. The question was, do you believe that the company secretary of a company like Reliance Industries Limited is he or she the private secretary to Mr. Mukesh Ambani, the chairman of Reliance Industries? What is your answer? Yes or no?
No.
No. Okay. Alice,
No.
no. Asta Singh.
No.
Yolan says no. Rijita, no.
No.
Answer no. Okay, great. Jennifer says no. Fine. Nikita, no. Okay, fine. Great. At least I'm assured that you people are listening to whatever I'm saying. Great. It gives me great inspiration to continue. Oishi, no. Fine. Great. So, I'll go back again to my presentation where we will be getting to know, girls, कि what does a company secretary do in an organization? उसका काम क्या है? ठीक है? So we are going back to the presentation. The company secretary's job is that he's a key managerial personnel of the company. Key managerial personnel. What does key managerial personnel means, girls? A key managerial personnel means that every company whose paid up capital is more than 10 crores, whether it is public or private, has to compulsorily appoint a company secretary. It is a law in India. We have a Companies Act, the Companies Act 2013, which says that every company, whether it's public or private, we take paid up capital of more than 10 crores, has to compulsorily appoint a company secretary, and he has to be given the designation of key managerial personnel. There are only 3 KMPs in a company. One is the CEO of the company. The other one is the CFO, the Chief Financial Officer, and the third person is the CS, the company secretary. These 3 people can only be the KMP. Agar inme se, if any of this person is not appointed in a company, then the company can be asked to pay a big fine by the government. You may have heard about a company called Rotomac. It makes pens. It is a part of a company called Camlin Group. Okay, this company was not having a CS for around 2 or 3 years. The government of India, fined them around 10 crore rupees for not hiring a company secretary. So that is the level of importance of a company secretary in an organization. And what does a company secretary do? A company secretary does compliance work. Compliance means to see that the company does not flout any rules or regulation. Like Shaima told, he is the legal officer of the company. All legal work has to be done by a company secretary. Just like a chartered accountant is the financial officer of the company, the finance officer of the company. In the same way, a company secretary is the legal officer or compliance officer of the company. He has to make sure the corporate law, security law, capital market law, regulatory compliances have been done correctly followed. Now you will ask me, sir, what is corporate law? For example, you are the company secretary of a company like Mio Amore, who is into baking items and all that. Okay, so you are the company secretary. It's your job to ensure that the company Mio Amore, sorry, has a license of baking items. What is the license called? It is called the FSSAI. If you buy all these food items, you will see that in small letters it is written FSSAI. What does that mean? This means the Food and Safety Standards Association of India. Okay, this is the body that gives you license of having this what to say making baking items, etc. So if you are the company secretary of Mio Amore, it's your job to ensure that the company has the food license. If Mio Amore tomorrow it's a private company, tomorrow it wants to become a public company, then it has to go to the stock exchange. That is called securities law. From private company to public company, that is called securities laws. The third is capital markets. Once your company is listed in the stock exchange, now the share prices may go up, go down. If you have good profits, the share price climbs up. If you have losses, what happens? The share price goes down. So as a company secretary, you have to ensure that the price that is going up or down is been going in a uniform manner. If what happens is that there are some people who will try to jack up the prices of the shares by buying a lot of shares or selling off a lot of shares. If you are seeing the series Scam 92, which is a series on Harshad Mehta, who was a big player in the stock market, and after whose scam only we have the SEBI, the Securities Exchange Board of India, to stop this type of practices of people buying shares in huge quantities and driving up market prices. So if you're a company secretary, it's your job to see that nobody indulges in this type of activities. The last one, regulatory compliances. For example, Mio Amore is here in India. Tomorrow it wants to sell its products in the US. So if you're going to sell it in the US, does it mean that the license in India is enough to sell it in the US? No. You have to take a different license, whatever is there in the US, and then only you can start selling there. And the balance sheet. The balance sheet of India would be different from the balance sheet format of the US. So if you are a company in US also, you have to make sure the balance sheet of both the countries are different and they are submitted differently in the stock exchanges of the particular country. Okay, so this is called regulatory compliances. So आपका काम, so your work is multifaceted. You have to deal with corporate laws, you have to deal with security law, you have to deal with capital markets, regulatory compliances, etc., etc. So it's very important to have a company secretary. Just a company secretary's job is just like a person, a traffic sergeant's job. Just like you see, the traffic sergeant is there who ensures that the traffic rules are being followed by each and every citizen who is driving. The same way, tomorrow you are a company secretary. It's your job to see that the company follows all rules and regulations that is there in India with regard to businesses. And the third job a company secretary does is an advisor to the board of directors. Sole proprietorship, partnership, and joint stock companies. In joint stock companies, we have board of directors. So you are an advisor to the board of directors. Without owning a single share in the company, you sit with the board of the directors. And if you are not present in the board of directors meeting, the meeting can be called off. Why? Because you are an independent authority. It's your job to note down the minutes of the meeting of the board of directors. So your presence is a must. So these three jobs is done by company secretaries who are in employment. Employment means they are working in a company. Okay? If you don't want to work in a company, you want your own practice, just like a doctor who doesn't work in a hospital, he has his own clinic. The same way, you can also, as a company secretary, have your own practice. If you're in practice, what jobs you can do? You can be a secretarial auditor. A chartered accountant is a financial auditor. A company secretary is a secretarial auditor. What does a secretarial auditor do? For example, there is another company secretary in a company where he is an employee company secretary. So the company will appoint a different auditor to check the job of the company secretary is working in the company. For example, I am a company secretary. I feel that whatever I do, nobody will be able to raise a question on the job that I do. So I will become complacent in my job. I will do whatever is there in my according to my whims and fancies. To keep a check on me, the company appoints another company secretary who is known as a auditor who will audit my activities. Clear? He is known as the secretarial auditor. So if you are a practicing company secretary, you can be a secretarial auditor. Next is corporate planner. What does corporate planner means? It means that, for example, you want to start a company. You don't know what are the licenses you are required to get from the government, what is the fees that is required to be paid for starting a company. Then whom you would approach? You will approach a company secretary. In practice, he will advise you, he or she will advise you about all the requirements that needs to be fulfilled before starting any business. Okay, if you want to start a small business, it's okay, but if the business is huge, you have to file a lot of paperwork. The paperwork is something that you don't understand. In that case, you require a advisor, and that advisor is a company secretary in practice. The third thing is registered valuer. Valuer, what does valuer means? For example, the company has a lot of land, it wants to sell off, but it doesn't know what is the cost of the land prior to selling off. So it appoints a company secretary who is a registered valuer of the government, who will value the land. For example, you have an old phone, you want to sell it. Certain the value, this phone will cost me 2000 rupees, and then you sell it off. The same way, a company has a lot of assets, they don't know ascertain the value. So they have a person who will ascertain the value of the land or buildings, whatever it is. The fourth point is insolvency professional. What does insolvency professional mean? Like, a company has taken money from the bank. We have Jet Airways, etc., who taken money from the bank. They took money, but their business ran into a loss. What happened in that scenario? The banks took possession of all the assets of the company. In Jet Airways case, all their planes, all their airport slots, all their the flying schedule, etc., were taken by the banks. And what did the banks do? The banks gave it to an insolvency professional who auctioned the assets. Would have seen the movies, etc. Auctioning of assets take place. In companies, auctioning is done by an insolvency professional who will auction the assets, get in the money, and repay that money to the banks, so that the bank does not lose its money. In before this insolvency has come in the year 2015 itself. 2015 से पहले there were no rules in India, so people were doing a lot of scams and scandals in India and going off out of the country. But after 2015, the government made it mandatory that if a company is not able to pay its dues, then the banks or the government can take possession of the assets of the company and auction it off through a insolvency professional. As a company secretary, you can be a insolvency professional. The last job of a company secretary is that he's a GST professional. GST is something that is very new to India. We only have 3 years since the GST has come into effect in India, and many people are not aware of it. So if you are a company secretary, you are practicing GST, it is a good place where you can perform nicely. Everybody who is into selling goods or offering services has to pay GST. Okay. So as a company secretary, if you have having knowledge of GST, you can work as a GST professional. So from this, you can understand, girls, the job of a company secretary is huge. So there's a hell and heaven difference being a company secretary and being a private secretary. So if you're in employment, you're working in a company, then you are a key managerial personnel, compliance officer for the company, advisor to the board of directors. If you are in having your own practice, you are a secretarial auditor, you are a strategic corporate consultant, valuer, insolvency professional, and GST professional. That is the reason this line is self-explanatory. I am a CS, only I do what I do. Okay, so with this line, I go back to you people. I hope you have understood whatever I have tried to convey. Have you people understood whatever I wanted to convey to you people with regard to the job of a company secretary? Yeah. Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Thank you. Thanks.
Yes,
So,
sir.
so, uh, so we come to the last part, girls. That is, how can you people become company secretaries? That is the very reason of your school organizing this program, so that you can understand कि आप लोग कैसे कंपनी सेक्रेटरी बन सकते हो. कंपनी सेक्रेटरी का जो जॉब है वो क्या है, उस क्या क्या हो सकता है, and all that. That is what I want to tell in my next session. But before I go to the PowerPoint presentation, I would like to tell you girls, there's a beauty to this company secretary course. What is the beauty to this company secretary course? The beauty of the company secretary course lies in the fact that this course is a self-study program. What does self-study means? Self-study means that any student after class 12 के बाद, after class 12 can join this program. There is no marks criteria, no age criteria to join the program. And you can be from any stream. Don't think that it is only the purview of the commerce stream. You have friends, relatives who are still thinking कि मेरे class 12 के बाद मुझे क्या करना है. Today, after listening to this session, you can advise them also कि company secretary is a very viable option for them. Why? Because there is no marks criteria, no age criteria, or no stream criteria also. Any student can join the program. So we go back to the presentation once again, so that you can understand in detail about the company secretary course and profession. We will end it in the next 5 minutes, so you don't have to worry much. Yeah. So the beauty of the course, as I was just telling you, it's a self-study program, and you can do along with your graduation. So once you complete class 12, you can do graduation, a BCom or a BBA or a LLB. Side by side, you can do the company secretary course. The company secretary course is self-study or correspondence course. You register into the course, you get the books at your home, you study at home. After a definite interval of time, you go to an examination center to appear the examination. But before you join the CS program, you have to appear for an entrance exam. This entrance exam is a must. And you will be very surprised to hear the fact that this entrance exam came into effect from the year 2020. This year. Before this, there was no entrance examination. There was direct admission, but the course duration was around 3 years. But once the entrance examination has come into play, the course duration has come down to 2 years. So before you become a graduate, you can become a company secretary. So first I will explain to you about the entrance examination, then about the course. Girls, any student who has passed senior secondary or who are appearing in senior secondary examination can become a company secretary. Okay, so if you're in 8, 9, 10, 11, whatever it is, once you get your class 12 admit card next year, then only, any year, not next year, any year, then only you can go for the CS course. Okay, I'm just giving an example with regard to those people who are in class 12 right now. Okay, for example, you are in class 12 right now, you will be getting your admit card next year. So next year, when you get your admit card, you can register into the program between 21st January and 15th April. Between this date, you have to take admission into the entrance examination. The entrance exam would be in the second Saturday of May 2021. Okay. For those who are coming in 11, 10, 9, 8, it will be 22, 23 in that manner. So the first chance for any student would be May of in the next year. Okay. So the May of 21. For those who are in class 12 right now, for them it will be May of 21. The second Saturday of May 21. And you have to register between these days, 21st January to 15th April. Then only you can give the exam in May of the next year. If you miss May, if you're not able to go for May 21, then you can go for July. If you miss July, November. If you miss November, January of the next year, January of 2022. So you have 4 attempts to appear for the entrance examination. Clear? And the fees into this program is only 1,000 rupees. In 1,000 rupees, you can appear for the examination, and you get also 4 books to study for the examination. Okay. Now, what is the examination all about? Examination में क्या पूछा जाता है? Then the examination is of 120 minutes and of 200 marks. 120 minutes and 200 marks. Okay. This is the duration of the examination, that is 120 minutes, and the marks of the examination is 200. And it is divided into 4 parts. The first part is business communication. Business communication means English. Now, as you are from an English medium background, this part is way too easy for you. The second part is legal aptitude and logical reasoning. Legal aptitude, those who are in 8, 9, 10, and those who are past 8, 9, 10, etc. You are reading civics, the Constitution and the Parliament of India. This is legal aptitude. Now, as a student of company secretaryship, you should have a little bit idea about the structure, legal structure of India. That's its legal aptitude. So it's very basic. You don't have to think that no, you will be asking very huge questions on legal aptitude, etc. The institute also knows the schooling structure of India. So it will ask you very basic questions with regard to the Constitution and the Parliament of India. And logical reasoning. Logical reasoning means the question like A is the brother of B, B is the brother of C. How is A and C related? This is logical reasoning with regard to relations, time, and all that. That is also you're studying in school. The third paper is economic and business environment. Economic and business environment means what is the current situation of our country with regard to the budget, etc. So that you are getting the books, you have to study from the book and appear the examination. The fourth part is current affairs, GK. What is who is the Prime Minister of India, the President of India, this type of the current affairs GK questions. Okay, these are the questions that would be asked in the examination. Each one is of 50 marks. 50 into 4 is 200. Okay, this part B is not there because of the pandemic. This has been done away with, so you don't have to worry about the part B. Only you have to give this computer-based test. This test will be also happening at your home. You don't have to go outside also. The question paper will come to your home. You have to select the answer of the correct correct answer of that question. You have to submit it within, you have to complete the entire paper within 2 hours and resubmit it. Clear? So you don't have to go out of your home also to appear for the entrance examination. But to pass the examination, you require 50%, that is 100 marks. And each subject you have to get 40%. Means business communication is of 50 marks. The 50 ka 40% becomes 20. So in each part you should score more than 20, but your total marks should be more than 100 to pass the examination. Okay. We are done with this part also. We go to the next part. What are the fees of the course? What are the part of the course? So once you pass the CSCT, once you pass the entrance examination, then you become a student of the CS course. CS course is divided into 2 parts. The first part is called executive and the second part is called professional. So CS executive, you have to come to professional. Once you complete CS professional, you become a company secretary. So इसमें कोई rocket science नहीं है. There is no rocket science involved for becoming a company secretary. It is very simple. After class 12, appear for the entrance examination, pass the entrance examination, become a student of CS executive, pass CS executive, get into professional program, pass professional program, become a company secretary. It is as simple as it is. So we are done with this. Next is the fees of the course. The total fees of the course come to a maximum of 25,000 rupees. It is highly subsidized by the government. Now you'll ask, sir, how is 25,000 rupees? Entrance examination is 1,000 rupees. Executive is 11,600 rupees. Professional is 12,000. You add the 3, it will become less than 25,000. Now the other question comes to your mind is that, सर इतना सस्ता है तो चाइना का माल तो नहीं है. You can be rest assured it's not Chinese inspired. It's totally Indian, Desi. So the government wants more and more students to come from all strata of society. So the fees are kept the bare minimum. Now the government also provide fee concessions. What are the fee concession? The first fee concession is given to those students who are from scheduled caste and scheduled tribe. For them, the fees is 50% exempted. That is 25,000 divided by 2. Okay, this is for scheduled caste and scheduled tribe students. Now, the second fee concession is given to those students who are physically handicapped. For them, the fees is only 4,500 total, not 25,000, 4,500. So you know somebody is physically handicapped, you can apprise him or her about this course. Okay, for them it's 4,500. And the third fee concession is given to those students, any category, general, scheduled caste, scheduled tribe, any category. But if the family income of that particular student is below 3 lakh and the student has scored more than 65% marks in both class 10 and 12, the entire course is free for that particular student. Family income should be less than 3 lakh and the student should have scored more than 65% marks in 10 and 12. The course is free for the student. Okay, you don't have to pay a single pie to the institute. The government will take care of your expenses. Okay, we go to the next part. Next part is what are the subjects that you need to study in CS. There are 8 subjects in executive, 9 subjects in professional. Okay, CS is 70% law. Law means company law, and 20% accounts, and the rest 10% is communication skills. You, as a company secretary, you should have very good communication skills, both written and verbal, to be a good company secretary. Now you will feel that the subjects are very tough, but when you hear the remuneration of company secretary, you feel that ये तो बहुत कम पड़ जाता है with regard to the remuneration I'm going to get. Achha. One more thing I wanted to add is that once you complete professional, now you have to work for 21 months under a company secretary as a trainee. This training is a must. Once you complete the training, then only you will become a member of the institute. Why the training is required? Because just studying the book is not enough. You have to go for this training program. That is a must. Once you complete the professional program and the training as provided by the institute, then you can add the term ACS in front of your name, Associate Member of the Institute, or ACS. Okay, this is what you can add in front of your name. Institute provides. Now the question is that whether the institute provides placement. The institute provides placement to all students. It also provides training. The demand is so high that I can give an assurance: no company secretary is unemployed. By choice, people can become unemployed, but if you have got the degree, you want to work in a company, you will definitely get a job. Or you can do your own practice also. No company secretary will sit unemployed because of the demand as on date. Okay. Now the pay package. The pay package of a company secretary in Calcutta for a fresher is between 5 to 10 lakhs per annum. And if you work hard, there are companies who are paying in crores of rupees. Okay. There are companies like ITC, Imami, Sri. These are companies in Calcutta who are paying crores of rupees to their company secretaries. So salary packages depend upon the capacities and capabilities of person and vary from sector to sector. Okay, now this is the institute office in New Delhi, in Noida, and in Kolkata. Kolkata, we are at Beg Bagan, opposite to the Lamartine School for Girls. Okay, it's a prominent location. You can see it if you go to that area. You can see the institute's office. Okay, so I am at the last end of my presentation. I'm just summarizing whatever I said. Any student can join. No entry barrier. Okay, only entrance exam is there. Distance learning, you can study from your home. You can do e-learning. All the videos of all lectures uploaded in the institute's website is free of charge. You don't have to pay a single pie to attend the e-learning. Career opportunities is excellent. The demand is so high. Position of power and prestige. You sit with the board of directors. You can be in practice, direct access to the top management, good remuneration that I told, opportunities abroad, as I told you about Dubai and other places, opportunity to pursue BCom or MCom with IGNU after complete CS. So this is the end of my presentation. So now the floor is open for you people to ask questions. You can ask any questions with regard to whatever I have said. If you feel that sir was bluffing, you can that also check with me. सर आप तो फेंक के चले गए, क्या पता ये सब मिलेगा कि नहीं हम लोगों को. So that also you can check in the institute's website. All information is there in the website of the institute. So the floor is open for questions. I hope it was interesting for you people. Yeah. So any questions? Any questions you have?
Girls, if you have any doubt, please get it clarified.
Any doubts or questions that you have, you can ask.
Children, all of you open your
Excuse me,
video. And
Yeah.
yes, ask some questions. All of you children.
Sir,
Open
I
your
have a
video.
question. I've heard
Yeah.
from many people that CA is much more better than CS. So what are your thoughts about this?
So this is actually a misconception that chartered accountancy is better than CS and all that. For example, in a company, if I ask you, Rimjim, which of your eyes is more important for you? Madam, Mausi Madam, can you just mute your audio?
Yeah.
So, Rimjim, if somebody asks you which of your eye is important, right or left, you would say both of them are important for you. No. In the same way, for a company, a chartered accountant looks after the finance of the company. A company secretary looks after the legal part of the company. Okay. Why? So finance is important, the accounts, etc. Law is also important. You cannot only rely on the accounts. If you do illegal business, what happens? The law will not allow you to operate, correct? So a company secretary will advise you what is the law, whether your products are fulfilling the legal requirements or not. For example, you have a company that manufacture potato chips, just like Lay's. No, you want to sell it to the people. When you package it, you have to mention whether it is vegetarian or not. You have to affix a green dot, specify it's vegetarian. If it's not vegetarian, you have to affix it with the red dot. If you don't do that and sell the product, what happens is that the government will impose a fine. After imposing a fine, also you're selling it, then you will be put in the jail. Why? Because you have not listened to the government's instructions. So company secretary is very important. No, other thing, Rimjim, is that people are not aware about company secretary. Chartered accountant, everybody knows. No, why? Because you are a person. When you file your tax returns, you require a chartered accountant. The company secretary is only required in companies. If you are having a legal requirement, you go to a lawyer, correct? But for company, they don't have lawyers. They have company secretaries. So the people who deal with companies, etc., they only know about company secretaries. General population does not know about this. That's the reason people are not aware. But if you ask me the importance is huge. The requirement of a company secretary and chartered accountant is same. Just like our both eyes are important for us, the same way a company requires both chartered accountant and a company secretary. Clear, Jim?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Anybody else? Yeah. Shaima.
Sir. I mean the
Profitable?
private
जो अच्छा
company
काम
or
करेगा वही
the public
profitable
company,
रहेगा
which is
ना.
more profitable?
ठीक है. For example, a private company बहुत ही पेचीदा सवाल है शर्मा. No, private, anybody can be profitable. For example, you're doing good work, it can be profitable. ऐसा नहीं है. Private company मतलब क्या हुआ? The number of people invested in the business are less than 50. It is the reason it is known as a private company. If the number of members are more than 50, we call it as a public company. Like Reliance, it's a public company because the people are invested into the shareholders are more than 50. ठीक है? And at the same time, private company क्या हो सकता है? विप्रो इज अ प्राइवेट कंपनी, ठीक है ना? प्राइवेट अभी भी उसका ये नहीं हुआ है, तो प्राइवेट कंपनी है, क्योंकि उसका मतलब बड़ा कंपनी है, फिर भी प्राइवेट कंपनी, क्योंकि उसका इन्वेस्टमेंट जो शेयर होल्डर्स है लेस देन 50 है, ठीक है? सो इट्स डिफिकल्ट असर्टेन करना प्राइवेट कंपनी में पैसा है कि पब्लिक कंपनी में पैसा है। जो इतना अच्छा काम करेगा, जो इतना अच्छा डिलीवरी ऑफ गुड्स करेगा या सर्विसेज करेगा, द प्रॉफिट इज इन दैट मैनर, ठीक है? ओके श्यामा? Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Anybody
Yes,
else?
sir.
Anybody? Any other question? Okay. Nobody has any question. That means अगर आपके सवाल नहीं होंगे तो there are only two things to that. What is that? Whatever I have said, पूरा क्रिस्टल क्लियर हो गया, पूरा घोल के आप लोग ने पी लिया जो भी मैंने बोला है, ठीक है? अगर दूसरा पहलू क्या हो सकता है? That जो भी था सब सर के ऊपर से चला गया, ठीक है? So मैं क्या समझूं? What should I infer? You have understood whatever I said, or everything has gone above your head? No response. No, nobody has any response. ये भी समझ में नहीं आया होगा कि सर क्या बोले अभी. You have not understood.
Children, please respond.
Understood. Okay.
You have to ask some questions, children.
Okay, madam, it's good. It's good. Now they are not asking questions. It makes my job easier. I feel that I have done a good job.
Yeah, please you know, because it's a career counseling. You can ask wherever you can study, what you have to do. So many questions you can able to ask.
Okay.
Please.
Yeah.
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah, Shama.
Only Shaima.
Sir, what is the insecurities
What has the?
what insecurities do you all have about the company? Like while doing the job?
Insecurities.
Yes, sir.
Insecurities in a company where the company doesn't follow any rules. For example, the company's chairman does not listen to the advice that I provide. That's an insecurity. For example, you are the chairman of a company. Okay, I am your advisor. You don't listen to my advice, Shaima. I tell you that please don't do this thing, don't do that thing. But you, even though after I offer you advice, you are doing that. That's my insecurity. I feel that, okay, that you're not listening to my advice. So we as professionals, we are insecure in this respect, that the chairman or the company's directors don't listen to us. And if, the law says that even though I have advised you and you're not listening to my advice, I am safe. You are in distress. Okay. So if I am giving you good advice, then you're not complying with the advice that I've given you, Shaima, and you do wrong things, I am protected. If I give you wrong advice and do it, then you are not responsible. I am responsible. But if I have given good advice and you don't follow, then the insecurity lies with the chairman of the company. Clear? Shaima, समझ में आया आपको?
Yes, sir, I understood.
Yeah, good. Okay. So I hope there are no more questions. One thing I didn't tell you. Yeah, Sanjana says no, sir. Khatam kariye aap. So the one thing I deliberately didn't tell you is that the admission process. I thought that you will be asking me, कि sir, how will you get admission into the course? No, पूरा रामायण खत्म हो गया, but I didn't tell that लंका में कौन रहता था. So that is the thing I wanted that you people should have asked me, but you didn't ask that very pertinent question, that how did you take admission to the course? The admission onto the course is through the website icsi.edu. Okay, is the website, I will be sharing the institute brochure with Madam Ashmi. She will be sharing with you people later this week or something like that. So in that brochure, you will see the website of the institute, icsi.edu. When you take admission, you have to go to the website of the institute, click on admission, input your name, address, and your qualification. Class 12 pass or class 12 appearing, graduate, postgraduate, whatever it is. And once you have done with that, at that point of time, you have to upload your class 10 mark sheet and class 12 admit card. Once you upload the class 10 mark sheet and class 12 admit card, your admission is done. Clear? And you will get a link to appear for the entrance examination in second week of May of that particular year, 21 or 22 or whatever it is. So admission procedure is very simple. By sitting at your home, you can take admission. You only have to click on admission. अपना नाम देना है, अपना एड्रेस देना है, अपना क्लास 10 का मार्कशीट एंड क्लास 12 का एडमिट कार्ड का स्कैन करके you have to upload it and you have to pay the fees of 1,000 rupees through credit card, debit card, whatever it is. Once it is done, you will get the link in your email ID. You only have to wait till the examination to click on the link to appear for the examination. So it is as simple as it is. Isliye that is I told that physically handicapped students can also study for the course. So a person doesn't have to go from his house to appear the examination also. He or she can, sitting at their homes, can go for this course. Okay? So any other doubts after this?
No, sir.
No. Maushmi madam, I think it's time for us to wind off.
Yes, sir. Thank you for the session.
Yeah.
Thank you, everyone. I'll get back to you, sir.
Sure, madam. Madam, I'm logging off, madam. Thank you, everybody, and the best wishes
Right.
from my side.
Thank you.
For
Thank you.
everybody.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Students, you may start leaving now.
Good evening and thank you, teachers.
Good evening and thank you, teachers.
Thank you, teachers.